In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. TenexToken. Play smart, play discreet.
We are live. Colin Warrington and IFLTV. Edward.
How are you?
All right. How are you feeling, mate?
Well, I mean, what the IFL viewers won't know is that you've just analysed my trousers for the last 10 minutes, saying they're black when they're navy.
I am colourblind, but
Okay.
just for the viewers as well, you did pull your trousers down in the middle of a public place.
I was looking at the label to try and confirm the serial number to prove to you that they're navy.
And then some guy came up in the middle of it and said, "Is that Eddie Hearn?
Yeah.
Damn, man, what the hell are you doing with your trousers down?"
For you, I don't know whether it's this insecurity that you have, but as soon as you see me, you verbally assault me. You come up to me, you start looking me up and down going, "What are you wearing there? Why are you wearing black trousers when they look like you've got a navy top on? So you have," like, and then you turn up, "What is this? You've got a New York Giants fluorescent top on, Nike, Everlast shorts,
Is that a nice little run there?
Nike socks, and Asics trainers."
What's wrong with that? It's all black.
All black everything. Listen, are you running the 5K on Saturday?
I'm going to try. I done maybe half a 5K this morning.
What is wrong? I said this to Sam Jones today. I'm in the gym this morning doing my sprints, 6 400s, and Sam's next to me, like, doing his run. I said, "Do the 5K. "Oh no, I can do a 5K on the treadmill, but I can't do it outside." Shut up. What? You better do it, no? Lenihan.
Edward,
Yes.
we're in Orlando for a different type of fight week for Matchroom this week. Are you excited for this one?
I love it here. I mean, I know you boys love it at Caribou Royale. It's a fantastic resort. This place has become kind of like a little bit of I'm going to call it like a mini Vegas, obviously without the casino. But you know that in the way that it's hosting so many fight nights now during the year, granted, not the Ben Eubanks and the AJs and that kind of stuff, but really good, really important cards. And this is no different. I mean, we've got a really wild heavyweight matchup on Saturday night as main event. Lenny Apero, our Cuban heavyweight, who's number 3 in the world with the WBA. Obviously, him and his brother Dinero are like, I think, 2 of the top heavyweights in the world right now, fighting Jordan Thompson, who's been inactive for well over a year and a half, who last fought Jai Opetaia, who's stepping up to heavyweight, basically rolling the dice to stick himself in the top 5 in the world in the heavyweight division. It's quite a random fight, if I'm honest.
How did this come about? Because Jordan hasn't fought in coming up 2 years.
Yeah. So what happened was, the reason that Jordan fought Jai Opetaia was there were several parts to the decision. Number one, he's a very good fighter. Punches extremely hard. He's a great talent. But number 2, he just couldn't make cruiserweight anymore. So we talked about him moving to heavyweight. This was a guy that would have to take off serious weight during the last parts of his camp to make the cruiserweight limit. And when he got in there, he was, I think, just a little bit too fragile against the big punches. And Jai Opetaia went in. I think he stopped him in the 3rd or the 4th round. Jordan fought for the world cruiserweight title, made good money. Within his contract, he had a comeback fight up at heavyweight because that's what was always the plan going to be if he lost. So he lost, and he took some time out. When he came back with a decision, it was really a decision to come back in an 8-rounder or to come back in a big fight. Lenny Apero is a very talented fighter, but at the same time, there will be some question marks as to how good this guy really is. He's never really fought anyone himself. He's also ranked number 3 in the world by the WBA. And I think Jordan Thompson's looked at it and gone, you know what, I think I can beat this guy. If I beat this guy, I'm going to be top 5 in the world with the WBA. And all of a sudden, I'm going to put my name right into the mix. If I lose, maybe I come back and I make a run at heavyweight. I saw him last night in the steakhouse. People in Orlando, come visit the Chop House. I don't know if you've had a steak in there. It's absolute top drawer. He is a monster. Have you seen a size? Have you seen him since you've been here? He's like 245 pounds, 250 pounds, 6'6", 6'. He's an absolute monster. He punches really, really hard. If he can take some resilience up at the new weight, I think it's going to be a great fight. And I respect him for taking the... Listen, it may be one where he's just not ready, not good enough, or it might be one where he knocks Pero Spark out, and all of a sudden everyone goes, we've got a new star in a heavyweight division. So he's rolling the dice, and I respect it.
Where does he sit contractually with you now?
Who?
Jordan.
This is his comeback fight after the Opataya fight. So, listen, you know, if he wins, 2 of our guys, good fight. Let's see. You know, Pero is thinking, I'm 2-3 fights away from getting myself into a mandatory position for the world heavyweight title. Jordan Thompson's thinking, I'm going to roll the dice and knock him out. Pero's inexperienced as a pro, but a very good fighter.
He's just had a good look at you as he walked up the stairs there, Pero.
All right.
What was the thinking behind bringing Pat Brown on this card?
Pat Brown, in my opinion, is one of the best cruiserweights in the world right now. Right now. He's had 4 fights. If you look at who he's been matched against, with the exception of his second fight, which was still a fair match, he's moved very, very quickly. On Saturday, he fights Felix Ferreira, former 175-pound world champion. Lost on points to Dimitri Bivol. Just lost on points at cruiserweight to Tristan Calruth, who's Golden Boy's big prospect. I think he's 18-1, 17-1, something like that. I'm so convinced that Pat Brown is the goods. But this is a really big step up in his 5th fight. The decision is when we sign Pat Brown, as when we sign these big names, Ben Whittaker's another good example, we talk about the ability and the opportunity to become a global star, to have that experience of fighting in America. This is the first little trial of that for Pat Brown. So, you know, he's been on a great run. This is his 5th fight in 8 months with us, you know, and now stepping up to serious competition. And I honestly believe that 2026 you will see Pat Brown in major title fights, and I think he's one of the hardest punching cruiserweights in the world, and I think he's a phenomenal talent.
Do you see him as a future heavyweight king?
Yes. A heavyweight, I mean, king. Look, I am so sure that Pat Brown is going to win the world cruiserweight title. So sure. If you speak to people who have sparred him, they talk about power like they've never seen. Forget cruiserweight, but even up at heavyweight. And I do think that he will become a heavyweight. But honestly, and I urge, and he's got a great following himself. He's a great guy. But I urge everybody watching this to understand the quality of this guy and get on his journey. Follow him across social media, get behind him, because he's young, he's exciting, his style is great to watch. He's a huge puncher. And I think we've got a Brit there that can rule the world in a cruiserweight division.
No, this is slightly off topic, but when I was checking in yesterday, the girl on the desk was from Essex.
Yeah, go on. So
I forgot to tell you this. No, this is not. I will bring her into this combo.
You know Hearn.
So I asked her, does that say Essex? And she said, yeah. I said, where are you from? She said, Billericay.
Right.
I said, no way. I said, what are you doing over here? She was working, whatever, bit of a sort, like. And then I goes, do you know Eddie Hearn by any chance? You know, like the boxing promoter? Just trying to like drop your name in it. Never heard of him. Essex, by the way. That's not good for you. Like,
I mean, you never know with you whether that's even true. So it doesn't, yeah.
But where are we? Okay.
Great story. But,
It was a good story.
I think, you know, look at the disservice that you're giving fight fans. Because I'm trying to talk about the quality of young fighters coming through in British boxing, and you're just making it just about some stupid comments again. Like,
I had to. I would have forgot about it.
Listen, if you want to laugh, if you want me to create content for your TikTok, that's fine as well. But don't come and pretend you're the real boxing journalist when you're trying to you're trying to swerve the conversation. I'm trying to give fight fans here real interviews, real content. We're talking about boxing, and all you want is Eddie, give us a little TikTok moment. You know, it'd be great for my.
Okay, let's go straight back to the boxing content then.
Yes.
Fabio Wardley.
Yeah.
Was that a mistake letting him go?
Me?
Yeah.
No. Let me tell you why it wasn't a mistake. Our relationship was over with his people. And I will prove time and time again, once my relationship breaks down with the fighter, with the manager, I'm out. So, and I never look, when people say, do you regret letting Fabio Wardley go? I don't even think about it, because that's gone. That's years ago. And what happened was, I never fell out with Dillian White and his guys. But, and this is no disrespect to them, I questioned the loyalty to me, and I didn't like what they did. So we're over. Now, could we have worked together with? Yeah, but just in my head, it all changes. Once I feel someone who's just, and this is not like, if you disrespect me, but I'm just telling you straight, if something happens that I don't like, my energy changes towards you, right? So this happens with fighters now. I don't need, I want a nice life. I want to enjoy what I do, and of course I want the best stable. But there is definitely a part of me that also felt that Fabio Wardley would never do what he's done now. I had no problem saying it. Of course. Listen, I always thought, and this is no disrespect to Fabio, he's done incredible, but most people, 99% of people, thought Fabio Wardley's ceiling was probably a British heavyweight title. And I think he'd agree with that. He knew that coming through. What he's done is nothing short of remarkable, and he deserves a huge amount of credit. And I've picked him to lose to, I thought he'd lose to Adelaide. I thought he'd lose to Fraser Clark. I thought he'd lose to Honey. And I thought he'd lose to Parker. So how wrong were I? And I don't mind saying it. Good luck to him. He's a lovely player. I think he's a top man, Fabio.
Can he beat Alexander Usyk?
I mean, again, like I would say, I look back at our Justice Honey. I think Justice Honey won nearly every round against Fabio Wardley. It's irrelevant because he got chinned in the 11th round, and that's boxing. But the thing is with Fabio, he's a game fucker. And it's almost like he's naive to... I will say, though, that from me talking about Fabio being game and a big puncher, let's just remember one thing. The improvements that he's made have been phenomenal. And Ben and Lee have done a great job. Shout out to Rob Hodgkins as well, because I think he has done a phenomenal job coming through. And he deserves a lot of the credit as well. The stuff that Ben and Lee have added, like little things, like the way that he was tying Parker up at times, really impressive. The jab, the feet position, very different. If you look at that performance versus Justice Honey fight, where he looked really lost and out of his depth, it was a really good performance. And it was a great fight. It was a great fight. Two really nice blokes. And, it's sad to see someone lose.
Do you think we could see AJ against Fabio Wardley?
Yeah, I mean, if Fabio keeps going, he's putting himself... it's going to be really interesting now, because Usyk's not going to look at the Wardley fight. Usyk's going to look at the Wardley fight like this. And a lot of guys that establish themselves, like Usyk have, look at guys coming through like Fabio Wardley, and it just doesn't motivate them. Now, if you pay him up, it'll motivate him. But the money's not there for that fight in terms of what Usyk would like for a fight.
So is that a potential Ipswich Stadium fight for maybe Queensbury to do?
Ipswich Stadium? You ain't got a fucking clue. What sort of money can you generate Ipswich? You've got to get Alexander Usyk in this fight, you've got to be giving him 10, 15 mil, and you can't generate that at Ipswich Stadium. You've got to either be at Wembley or Spurs, or you've got to do a site fee deal somewhere, because otherwise Usyk's not going to fight Fabio Wardley for 4 or 5 million. Like, Usyk's sitting there going, all right, who's next? Like, what's going to excite me? It's not Fabio Wardley. You may end up getting a situation where Usyk gives that belt up and you do Wardley against a Talma for the World Heavyweight title. Wouldn't surprise me. Good fight. Great fight.
Does AJ and Fabio Wardley sell at Wembley?
Yeah, AJ against anybody sells out Wembley if it's the right fight and the right prize. Can't say we're looking at Fabio as a potential opponent, but if he gets himself in a position, AJ wants to win a World Heavyweight title. If he has to fight Fabio Wardley to help him on that route, or particularly fight for a title, absolutely. But Fabio's dangerous against anyone because he's so game. He also, the other part that I was saying is, he rides shots really well. It's really difficult to hit him clean. So everyone was talking about in that fight, wow, his powers of recovery. I don't think he really got hit that clean, other than maybe half a dozen times. He's also not been hit properly by a massive puncher yet. But once again, I had Parker 3 or 4 rounds up. And, he's come from behind, out of nowhere. I mean, it was a lot closer, that fight, than the Honey fight, but he just comes from behind out of nowhere to win the fight. great to watch. It was, I felt for Parker because I thought, I didn't think Parker looked as fit as he has done, even on the scales. I don't know whether the camp was a bit late or whatever, but you've got to give massive credit to Fabio because it was a great performance.
Speaking about AJ there, and last time I spoke to you, you said like there's a chance before the end of the year. Are we still at that same point where?
No, I think February is the date we're moving towards now.
Saudi?
In Saudi, in Ghana, or in London.
And the type of opponent, you must have it down to 2 or 3
I'll
people.
be honest with you. Look, it really depends what happens with the Tyson Fury fight. Because we know that His Excellency is discussing that fight with us to make. Now, we have no knowledge of how he's getting on with Tyson Fury, but this is how he works. He'll do our deal, and then he'll try and do Tyson Fury's deal, or vice versa, right? So, for us, we haven't done our deal yet to fight Tyson Fury, but we are discussing it, and we're in, right? Obviously, I've got to take care of business for AJ, but we're in for that fight. Now, if he can get Tyson Fury in for that fight, then the type of fight that we will have in February might look a little bit different to if we don't have the Tyson Fury fight. Does that make sense?
Can you give the fans an idea of who it would be different? Like if the Fury fight's made.
Okay. If the Fury fight is made, could be a guy in the top 20 of the world or something like. I honestly can't have no idea. If we're not fighting Tyson Fury, we may go into a big fight straight away. It could be a top 10 guy. Could be a top 5.
Jarrell Miller type of?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I think Jarrell's coming this week. I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I think Jarrell Miller is a problem for the heavyweights out there. I think.
Sounds like Eddie Hearn saying Jarrell Miller.
No, but we got. Look, there. If I didn't have the history that I have with Jarrell Miller, I would have signed him 10 years ago. No, because when was the AJ fight? 2000 and... I would have signed him 5 years ago. Jarrell Miller. I think he's a massive character and personality. I think he's a very, very tough guy to beat when he's fit. And I think he can seriously fight. So,
with that being said, are you in discussions to maybe sign him now?
Not necessarily. I mean, we're talking to a lot of people right now. There's an interesting market. But I think I could do... I was watching him at the show on Saturday, and I was just thinking... I was watching everybody talk and watching all the sort of... And I was thinking, he's the star. You guys, you love that shit, don't you? I mean, he is... But he's been... Obviously, we've had our fallouts. I don't like what happened. It's a long time ago. But we'll see. I don't know.
You said he's coming here this week, so... Is there an impending conversation between you and him this week at some point?
You're hyping it up like we're in talks to sign him. We're not. I'm just saying that I wouldn't rule out necessarily working with him in the future. And I've always thought that would be an impossibility, but time is a good healer. I don't know. I think he's a problem. I think, tell me a guy that he wouldn't be a problem for in the top 5 in the heavyweight division. Fit. Don't forget, when he fought Dubois, he come in like a slob. And this is Jarrell's problem. If he gets with the right guy, and I think Bosey could be that guy, I think he's a problem for a lot of the guys out there.
I haven't got speaking to you since kind of you and Dana White had this beef that originated out of nowhere, really. I remember your show in Vegas. He came, and you were like, I wouldn't say best friends, but you chat with him, he came. What has the issue been there? Is it because you feel like it's your territory boxing and he shouldn't come into it? Or?
There's no such thing as your territory, right? You don't own nothing. He don't own MMA, right? I don't own boxing, but I work in the space. And if you're a competitor, you can't expect me just to tickle your belly and play with your balls. We're at it. Does that make sense? Like. Even,
has he annoyed you?
No, he's not annoyed me. I think what he's done is he's said some things that have just not rattled me. They've just riled me up to make me think, okay, it is what it is now. And nothing's changed with my feelings toward Dana. And he think Dana, because Dana's so used to getting everything his own way in MMA and in that business world, when someone comes in and challenges you a little bit, I think he reacts in a certain way. Like, don't forget, I've had that for 15 plus years of people challenging me, saying this, you know, analysing the shows, criticising everything, decisions, this, that. And so that now is like water off a duck's back, but no one's really done that to him. So when he came out and said Eddie Hearn, no, these guys, and included me in that, they don't think big enough. They don't, you know, I just think, all right, but you can't.
He called you a lunatic, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really watched them back, but I don't think in any of my interviews you saw my pulse go above what my resting heart rate is, which is extremely low because of my physical condition, which is probably, I mean, sleeping is 47, which of a man of my age and stress is very good. I mean, but I'm talking to you now, it's probably 51, 52. And if I'm talking about Dana, now look at his interview where he's talking about me. And if you're wired up to a blood pressure monitor, there's all kind of noises going off when he's, I mean, you can see the voice starts because he can't handle, like, he's not used to it. How many years have you got? Well, not you, because you're a newbie. But you guys, Eddie, Frank Warren said that this, and Bob Arum said, and Leonard Ellaby said, and it's like, it's non-stop, isn't it? So now, and I haven't, you know, the one thing I would say is, I've kind of missed the beef with Frank Warren, and that. I do much prefer the relationship we have now, honestly, like, but I think people, and I don't know if it's your, I think people like that, you know, and they like that rivalry. And it doesn't have to get nasty. For me, it will never get personal with Dana because I think he's amazing at what he does. And I think what he's done as a business and TK, and I think as a promoter, I think he's phenomenal. But as a boxing promoter, he isn't, and he will never be anywhere as good as me. And I'm entitled to that opinion because I'm a big believer in myself. But when he's reading that undercard for Crawford and he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's just like me going into MMA and doing.
Would you go into MMA?
There's a lot of people that want me to go into MMA, and when he says, "Oh, he said this for years," I've never said I'm going into MMA. People are approaching me left, right, and centre to move into that space because they think it will be really interesting for me to take on Dana in the MMA world as well. You've got to move into these projects with it in your heart, and you've got to move into these projects with the knowledge to compete. I can't, when I give it a press conference like I do today, watch me flow. It's like a fucking piece of art. It really is. I mean, I'm talking Picasso levels, right? You got me out there, not one piece of paper. I turn up, Cole, I do all these interviews. They'll go, "Eddie, you're needed at the presser." I sit down in a chair with all these fighters and they go, "We're going live around the world in 3, 2, 1. I have no idea what I'm going to say. And it's just boom. There's no one better. There's never been anyone better. And there'll never be anyone like me. And people will be watching this going, "What an arrogant." That's what I believe. And that's the belief that I have in what I do. And it's the passion that I have in what I do for the fighters I represent, the paths that they're walking, the journeys that they're on, the strategy that we have together. And I live and breathe it every single day. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, all I think about is the business, boxing, the fighters I represent, the shows that we're doing and where we're going. I can't go into MMA and sit down at a press conference with 12 fighters and then you go, "Eddie, we're going live in 3, 2, 1. I'll be like, "Right, I actually need some," and that's what you saw from him in the build-up to that fight. Now, when he's in his war room or whatever they call it, and he's got his list up, he don't need none of that because he's got the same passion for what he does, and the same energy and knowledge for that sport.
Would you do a 5v5 with Dana White on?
Yeah, I mean, who is his fighters? Who are the TKO fighters?
I'm not too sure, but I think one, maybe two. Thomas Matisse, Montana Love.
Thomas Matisse, and who was the other one?
Montana Love.
Montana Love.
Both were on your Cleveland show before.
About 3 years ago. Yeah, but they've been beat 2 or 3 times since. I mean, but these are the guys. They're good fighters, but these are the guys that they want because you can just put them in with anyone. You pay them the money, and the money it might be acceptable to them. But at the same time, what you won't be able to see, if they get their way, is how much money is actually in the show versus what the fighters are getting paid. And that is the removal or the alteration of the Muhammad Ali Act, which in my opinion is a massive disrespect to fighters to whom the act is there to protect.
Have you tried to be involved in those conversations and with the American lawyers and stuff that we're dealing with?
About the Muhammad Ali Act, I've had loads of people contacting me saying, would you like to come forward and take on this, potential change of the Muhammad Ali Act? We'll go to the state government. It's like, mate, honestly, you know what you're up against, right? Who is Dana White pally with, right? What do you think? You don't think these guys have the ability to change something like that? Something probably so small at government level. Like that, do the government even know about the Muhammad Ali Act? It could even be a little favour for the pals. That's how the world works. What am I going to do? Go in there and start fighting at state government level and then banging on Donald Trump's door going, Donald, this is an absolute disgrace that your mate wants to change the Muhammad Ali Act. What do you think Donald's going to do? Oh yes, Eddie, come and see me and let's have a little chat about that. No, he's going to go, fuck off, mate. Dana's asked me to do something. Bosh, it's done. That's how the world works. No, but that's... So
Donald Trump and Bosch in the same sentence.
But there's no point fighting the system like that. You've got to pick your battles. Let them change them up. The fighters know. Everybody in the game knows what they're trying to do. So, but you've got to pick your battles, and that's not a battle that I'm going to really, we'll just continue to be honest with the fighters. And what we will do is, if there is a change where we don't have to disclose information, if the fighters want to know the information, we'll still provide it to them. I have no problem with that because we have total transparency with the fighters to ensure that they're treated with respect. That's it.
Is that a benefit as to why a fighter should sign with Matchroom and not with TKO?
Listen, and the proof will be in the pudding. Right now, what is TKO? What TKO boxing? What is Zuffa boxing? We haven't seen it. We haven't seen a fight. We haven't seen a product. But they're good. They're good. They're smart people. It's a good business. They're not going to come in and just fluff it. I'm sure they'll be good at what they do. Now, what they do is what we'll see. And I'm looking at our schedule going into 2026 with 4 fights that, we're trying to...
Give us a bit of an idea, because you told on my last interview, I'll tell you what the point is. You promised the fans on the last interview. I get countless messages, and you did.
So what
did
I promise?
You said you'll have an idea of our schedule within the next 2 weeks, so I'm not telling you now. Word for word, but you said we're now 3.5 weeks later. Still no schedule. Give us a bit of an idea.
Well, in that respect, I'll have to watch that back. I mean, when I promised the fans, I might have said, hopefully in the next 2 weeks, I'll be able to give you... I didn't look down the lens and go, guys, I promise you, in the next 2 weeks, I will give you the full schedule. So I think...
You don't need to give us a full schedule. Just give us a bit of an idea of what we can expect 2026, start of 2026.
But we're going to announce... Yeah, but Colm, what the fuck? Why?
This is going to do so many clicks for you. The people are going to go, do you know what, Eddie's actually sound.
Come. Forget all this bollocks, clicks for me. The only person benefiting from this interview is you and your mate Cassius. Yes, because I'm just providing you with an interview that's going to give you the biggest numbers of the week, probably the biggest numbers of the month. And it's like, and you're saying to me, you're out of order. If you want, I'll fuck off and won't talk to you for the rest of the week. So
come on, give us a bit of an idea. Start of the year schedule, please.
Very soon, we are going to make an announcement with an event to announce our slate for January, February and March.
3 months later?
Yes, that's what we want to do. Within that will be at least, even in the first 6 weeks of the year, 7 weeks, will be 2 world title fights and a unification fight.
How many fights in the US?
2. One in end of January, 1 at the end of Feb.
And then the rest in the UK?
1 at the end of January and 1 at the end. Yeah, all within like 1 week of each other. And
Ghana?
No, nothing to do with. You're talking UK, US. 2 in the UK, January, Feb. 2 in the UK, US, January, Feb. Massive fights, both of them. And honestly, we got to get it right. And with all due respect to you, I'm not just going to leak information to you to make those big events and those big reveals become weaker promotionally just because you said that I'm out of order to the fans. I mean, it's total bollocks. Who else sits in a fucking hotel lobby? Talk about Dana White. Do you think Dana White would sit with you for half an hour? And not only once I finish with you for half an hour, I've got to do Lenahan from Boxing Social for another 20 minutes, half an hour.
We've only done 10 minutes.
What?
We've only done 10 minutes.
No, we haven't only done 20. That's since you reset it when you had a problem with your card or whatever it was. So we've actually done about half an hour already.
Okay, let's go quicker.
Is
You won the
finished?
purse bids for Josh Kelly. How does that come about?
Once again, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
So you're not doing that?
There was no purse bid for Kelly.
Sorry, yes. Sorry. It went to purse bids and then it...
No, it didn't go to purse bids because there was no purse bid.
It was supposed to go to purse bids and then you took over the show. How did that come about?
So I did a deal with Louis de Cubas, Aegis Klimas and Kathy Duva. We agreed terms to stage the fight between Kelly and Mertzalaev, and we are just finalising everything now. We cancelled purse bids because I did a deal with Louis and Kathy, and the deal's done. So we're just proceeding to contracts, and there'll be an announcement soon.
Is there a Wasserman involvement still with Josh Kelly, or are you going to sign him now?
I'm interested in the fight. I'm interested in Josh Kelly. I think he's a great fighter. But for me, obviously it's a division we're heavily invested in as well, with Boots. And it's a Brit fighting one of the most dangerous fighters, one of the most dangerous world champions out there. And it's a fight I'm interested for the DAZN schedule. And that is why we did a deal with Louis de Cubas and Kathy Duva.
And is that one of the headliners that you speak about?
There you go.
In the UK?
Yes.
Edward, Josh Warrington planned for January. Is that happening?
I've got to be honest with you. How Lee Wood against Josh Warrington 2 has never happened has absolutely baffled the pants off of me, because that was a brilliant fight, right? Also, Josh Warrington was way ahead in the fight and got chinned. That's the reality. Some say it was a bad stoppage. I mean, he was badly hurt. Ever since that, which is like a year and a half ago, however long ago the fight was, they've just slagged each other off. And they absolutely can't stand each other. And I'm trying to get both guys now. Frank Smith's doing a great job. Frank Smith's becoming very, very good and very, very important at a boxing level. He's always been outstanding at an operations level, but now he's actually coming in with a calmer head to do some of these deals. And I'm saying to Warrington and Wood, for fuck's sake, you two, just fight. We want big domestic fights. The loser is finished. Finished. It's true, right? You know, come on. So you two, you both want to fight again. You're both still very good fighters. You've both got massive followings. Let's fight. Fight for your career in a British grudge match. So fingers crossed, and that's not done, but it's a fight we're negotiating. I want to see that in the first couple of months of 2026. It's ridiculous that fight hasn't happened. It sold 10,000 tickets. Like, it was a brilliant fight. They can't stand each other now, particularly. Let's make it happen.
Robert Garcia suggested that Sugar Nunes Navarrete's almost done. True?
Robert Garcia. That is a fight that we are negotiating with Top Rank. It's, for me, Nunes Navarrete is one of the best fights that can be made in boxing. 2 Mexican world champions, 2 of the most exciting fighters in boxing, right? World champions in a unification fight. Again, that's another one like where I'm going, guys, this is, and all the conversation with Top Rank have been absolutely first class. We're doing a load of business with Top Rank at the moment, and I would love to make that fight. One of the best fights that can be made in boxing.
Couple of quick ones. Will you re-sign Richardson Hitchens?
I don't know. I mean, look, I think, you know, obviously there was a lot that happened. You were there that night, and it right or wrong, I haven't got over it. Just being honest. Like, I love Richardson. I think the job that we've done with Richardson will always go down as one of the greatest jobs I've ever done for a fighter. But unfortunately, people pollute his mind and changes everything. I mean, you know, we were on such a brilliant path with Richardson Hitchens. You know, but we'll see. I mean, look, Kevin Rooney's very close with him. I know those guys are talking. I think Richardson's a phenomenal fighter, but, you know, it's a bit like Jarrell Miller. You know, it takes time for, like, what, I'm going to go too deep into it, but, you know, like I said to you earlier, like sometimes things leave a really bad taste in your mouth. And you know, the path that we were really on the path to greatness, and maybe that path can be repaved. We'll see.
Couple of quick ones. Is Ammo Williams still with you?
Who?
Ammo Williams.
Yes. Ammo Williams is mandatory for Janibek, and the IBF.
He was meant to fight in the final eliminator, right?
Yeah, but the guy was unable to fight. He had an eye issue, so the IBF made Ammo mandatory. We boxed him on that show in July. And they ordered Janibek against Ammo Williams. We requested purse bids for that fight. They requested an exemption to fight Lara, which was granted. The IBF have written to Ammo Williams and said on December the 7th, the winner of that fight will be ordered to fight you with no exceptions. So it's a bit of a frustrating period because you're not really, once that's ordered, you're not allowed to fight. And he really would like to fight, but tough, like, with all due respect, like that's a massive opportunity for Ammo. So yes, Ammo Williams will fight for the unified world middleweight title in his next fight.
What's next for Lewis Crocker?
It's a good question. It's going to be, we're either going to have a defence in Belfast or we're going to have a mega fight. And we will have to make a decision in the next few weeks.
Is Pacquiao an option?
Probably not, because I think they've talked about the Rowley fight. Rowley's got an issue because he's got to fight Gearsov. And they are trying to make Pacquiao against Floyd, which is bizarre, but it's the world we live in. And I've said to Louis, you know, if you want to do Pacquiao against Lewis Crocker, we don't mind a little night out in Belfast or Vegas, and he'll bring a lot with him. But I don't think so. Obviously, you got Conor Benn after November the 15th. It's going to be really interesting to see when he won't fight again till, you know, the first quarter of 2026. But does Conor want to fight for a world title at 147? In his mind, yes. But he's been at 160 for a while, so it's a big jump back. But, you know, let's get November 15th out of the way. And then I said to, you know, Louis, do we just make Barrios against Crocker for a unification matchup? I mean, you know, there's loads of things we do. But look, me and Louis, we just made a deal for Mertzalayev against Kelly. Me and Louis do deals very well and very easily. And, you know, Barrios against Crocker's a fight that no one saw coming, but it's a big unification fight. And it's one I believe Lewis wins. So the balance between a defence and a massive fight.
Last one from me. Will you re-sign Shakur Stevenson?
I think it all depends on, you know, right now, obviously he's in negotiations to fight Teofimo Lopez. I'm not involved in those conversations because we don't know what platform it's going to go on. If it's on DAZN, there's a chance, and I hope that we're involved with that fight. If it's not on DAZN, I won't be working on the fight because I'm exclusive to DAZN and I don't promote shows with other broadcasters. Fact. So I would love to be involved with Shakur. Love the guy. We've got a great relationship. But again, it's what's right for his career. And hopefully that's with Matchroom involved.
Well, Edward, look forward to catching up tomorrow. Appreciate it as always.
I actually can't wait to catch up tomorrow.
Thanks, mate.
In this sport, you don't wait for judges to decide your fate. TenexToken puts you in control. Stake instantly, speculate discreetly, and keep your moves private. TenexToken. Play smart, play discreet.